Good afternoon, everyone. Time for today's free little tip from Mark Deeks Music. Live from my office. Here is my pen. I'm going to show you today's tip. Today's tip involves one of the most common confusions in written music. And it's when... That was my wife calling me. Don't know if that interrupted things. Never mind. It's when people see these things. Sometimes people see this DC, and sometimes people see this DS written above the music. And quite often these two things are followed by one of these two things. Coda or fine. So, two parts to the first part of the phrase and two parts to the second part of the phrase. And so you can get any combination. So you sometimes see DC al fine, or DC al coda, or DS al coda, or DS al fine. One of these combinations. And lots of people get confused by what these mean and what they're supposed to do, because they also come along with one of two signs. Either this one, don't worry if it's not exactly as you might have seen it in written music, but some kind of S with a line through it and two dots. And also you sometimes see this kind of little target thing, which is a coda sign. So this is what we call segno, Italian for sign, and this is what we call coda. All right? So coda is like an end in just how this all gets put together. So sometimes in music you'll see, for example, DC al fine. So what this means, DC stands for da capo. Go back to the beginning. From the beginning, or literally from the head, from the top, however you want to call it, da capo means that. And so if you see fine, DC, go back to the beginning and then play all the way to the end. So you'll see it over some written music and it will be sending you back to wherever the beginning of the tune was, back to the beginning of the piece. And you start again from the beginning and then go all the way to fine, which means the end. So DC al fine, anywhere above a piece of music, above a line of a piece of music, means go back to the beginning, da capo, and then play it all the way again until you get to the end. DC al fine. If this first part is DS al fine, so the S means segno, which means sign. So this is dal segno, go back to the sign. So da capo sent us to the beginning, and dal segno sends us back to the sign, and the sign will look like this. So it works in a pair of pieces of information. Dal segno sends me back to the sign, so I'm looking back through the piece of music for where the S was. And now I'm playing just from there again. Not from the beginning again, like it was in da capo, back to the S. And then I play from the S all the way through until I get to the end. So that's DS al fine. DS, go back to the sign. DC, go back to the beginning. But if the second part of the sentence is al fine, that means you play it all the way to the end. All right? Right, we're nearly there. So, what happens if, I said there can be two parts to the first part, DC or DS, and two parts to the second part, al coda or al fine. So what happens if it says al coda? So the al coda one's a little bit trickier. But, here we go. High tech this, pen and paper, why not? So if it says D, S, Coda, We already know what the DS means. That means back to the sign. So wherever the S was earlier in the piece of music, that's what we're looking for. And then we start playing again on that S. And then we're going to jump to the end section when we see it, because the coda is the end section. So the way it works is this. You'd see DS, al coda, somewhere earlier in the piece of music,